We showed good control. That's what we want to do. We want to control games as much as possible. The medical team and the performance team have put in a really good shift again in the last few days to get as many players back out on the pitch as possible. I think what everybody felt at the Vic on Tuesday evening at the end of that game was fantastic. Everybody.
Ed, a repeat of the performance and the result from Tuesday night wouldn't go amiss tomorrow, would it?
That's what we're looking to do anyway. That's what we've been working on the pitch today and yesterday, and I know definitely, we're going to go full on. We're going to go all in and try and do a repeat of Wrexham. There are a few key points that we want to improve as well. The energy's been good. I think the focus has been a positive also over the last few days. I think the whole squad and the staff realise, what stage of the season we're at for one, but also that we haven't yet managed to put together a couple of wins on the bounce, and we're very much intent on doing so tomorrow.
Is that the challenge in that first half? Was that the best 45 minutes under you Watford have played?
It's up there, that's for sure. Yeah, it was good. We showed good control. That's what we want to do. We want to control games as much as possible. And you can control games in different ways. And what we showed in the first half is that we can control games with the ball. And we showed good control without the ball also. We were compact, we were stable, and we were aggressive when we wanted to be. So it's just work in progress to get that over 90 minutes now, because we've had some other really good halves of football. Second half away to Bristol was a really positive half as well. I think the first half here at home to Derby was a good half of football as well. The second half away to Preston. So there are signs, and it's just, it's a question of putting that together a little bit more consistently now. How
are the players that featured from Tuesday? Are they okay? I think Irankunda was just holding his hamstring at one point.
Yeah, the squad is being put under pressure. That's for sure. For a lot of the players, for some of them, it's their first full experience as a professional in a really competitive league. That's one thing for some of the younger players. For others, it's also the first taste of the Championship, and the Championship is one of the leagues that's going to test you the most, physically, mentally as well. And especially at this time of the season. So, and it's one of those things also, you can get caught in a bit of a vicious circle where you pick up a few injuries, and that increases the strain then and the pressure on those guys who have to keep on playing. So, everybody here, the medical team and the performance team have put in a really good shift again in the last few days to get as many players back out on the pitch as possible. And the good thing is for us that we've had an extra day compared to the Wrexham day. Wrexham game, we only had the 2 days from the Saturday game to the Tuesday game. So now we've got an extra day to be able to get a little bit more freshness in the legs.
Yeah. So they're all okay, the ones who featured?
Touch and go for a couple of them. Irankunda is, he should be okay normally, but there's going to be another check tomorrow morning. Giorgi Chakvetadze is I wouldn't say struggling, but he's also a question mark whether he'll be fully fit for tomorrow. And like I've said from the start, we're going to play with a team that's fully fit, and that it really is raring to go from the off, and that isn't 50-50 or 80-20. We just want players who are 100%. They're fit, they're sharp, and they're on it.
Giorgi Chakvetadze has done really well after that mistake in your first match in charge. Since then, he's hardly put a foot wrong.
No, he's been excellent. He's been one of the most consistent performers. He gives us something a little bit different in our defensive lineup. His defensive intensity, his focus is high level, but he's also got really good leadership qualities to him, which he's shown both on the pitch but also off the pitch in the training sessions, in the dressing room as well. So we're delighted to have him.
It felt like Wrexham in that first half was scared of transitional moments, and a lot of other coaches this season spoken about Watford being one of the best sides in transition, and then you caught them in transition for the first goal. Actually, is that something you can incorporate into kind of the tactics in your game?
No, definitely. We want to be, over time, we want to be a complete team. We want that teams that they fear our counter-attacks and our transitions, and they were excellent on Tuesday. And I'd seen that, prior to coming in. The analysis that I'd made was clear of the counter-attacking qualities that there were in the squad. I'd got the feeling that they weren't quite lethal enough, that the team hadn't managed to exploit them enough, and so we've put a big focus and a big emphasis on actually converting that and making those transitions into real chances. which I think we're improving on. So that's a good thing. But we want to be complete. We want to be a threat on the ball. If teams do sit off us, sorry, a little bit, that we have that threat dominating possession as well. So no, as time goes by, we're I've said it many times, but work in progress. So we'll keep pushing.
8 games left. 6 wins. I know you probably won't want to talk about what you might need, but I think we've reached that stage now where we're almost having to look at it and think, well, what probably would be needed here?
What's needed is to win tomorrow. That was our intent against Wrexham, and we managed to do it really well. So it's just that. We'll see where we're at tomorrow evening after the game. But before that, there's no form of calculation. There's too much respect for Leicester City as a team. Too much respect for Gary Rowett. Such an experienced manager who knows how to set teams up and knows how to get the best out of his players. So we've got far too much respect to be counting or anything like that. So just all of our focus, our energy is on tomorrow, 3 p.m.
A few weeks back, you spoke about Maamma and Baah possibly being back after the break. How is their progress?
Progress is good. They've been out on the grass in the past few days individually, which is a really big step for them. So they're out the gym, which is a relief. So no, they're pushing towards their return. I think it's realistic that Kwadwo Baah will be back sooner than not with Maamma. He might need a little bit more time. So no, the good news is that they're progressing well. There haven't been any setbacks, and hopefully, one of the two of them might be back just after the international break. But we're not going to rush anybody back. We're not going to do anything stupid. We want to protect them, and we want to do what's best for the team at the same time.
You mentioned Leicester, that 1 win in 12, fighting relegation. You wonder what kind of attitude they'll have coming here, whether they'll sit back and be careful about how they approach the game against you. Do you sense what they might do?
Well, the analysis has been really good. I've watched as many games as possible. And the analysts have done a great job in preparing for the game. But you're prepared for different scenarios. If they do come at us more aggressively, if they do sit us off, we're ready for both. The team is ready for both. And it's just for us to have that flexibility and to be able to adapt quickly in the game, and for us to impose on the game what we want, what our intentions are, and to be able to dictate from there. And if we do that, then we'll be in a good place.
I suppose what Wrexham showed was that when they sat back and didn't want that game that they eventually got, you still were able to break them down in that first half.
Yeah, so exactly that. If teams are gonna press and gonna come at us, we've got solutions. If teams are gonna sit off us, I'm gonna stop saying that now. Then we've also got options to be able to cause danger. So it's that game intelligence, and again, it's not an excuse, but the fact of having such a young team, both in terms of experience, but also in terms of being together for such a short period of time, it's normal that is, it's not perfect yet. And as I said after the game here against Wrexham, it's not going to be perfect again tomorrow. So just how we react to the different scenarios, to the different situations, to a potential mistake or not, that's going to define how well we do between now and the end of season, but tomorrow again.
You sort of referred to it there, but how do you stay level as a coach? Because after Stoke and Sheffield Wednesday, there were questions and disappointment, and then lots of those criticisms were answered on Tuesday. It can be a bit like that. How do you avoid being like that?
By trusting in the work that we're doing. It really is. That's the most important. The work that we're putting in the offices, in here in the video room with the players on the pitch. We're confident that work is of really good quality, and we know where we want to get to. And so when you know the work that you're putting in, where you're moving towards, it's just to stay calm. We're not going to win every game. And as I said, we're not perfect. And right now in the games, we're not going to be perfect. So if you can accept that, and then if you can be really positive every time in whatever happens, just to react positively, then that helps to remain calm. And it's also, I know I'm young, but I do have a lot of experience of leading teams, of coaching, of being part of elite clubs, and you realise that, as I've said this week, when it's good, it's not that good, and when it's bad, it's not that bad either. And it's one thing being able to think that, but then you need to be able to convince the team and the staff of that, just to remain calm. It's not because we beat Wrexham here that all is perfect and rosy all of a sudden. So just to remain level-headed, to remain calm and focused on what we're doing and not on all of the noise outside, then I think you can hopefully get there.
Yeah, I guess winning is so fickle, isn't it? Like Wrexham could have had a penalty down the other end seconds before you scored. You could have taken the chances at Stoke.
Yeah.
Do you almost judge yourself more on the things you could control than the point?
Yeah. No, I mean, to be really boring, there are a whole load of KPIs that we use which are there to evaluate our performances. And as long as the performances are good, the performances are balanced, in terms of the attacking threat that you've got, in terms of stopping transitions and the chances that you're conceding, then you're on the right track. And the most important is the results, but you can be a little bit blinded by a good result or a couple of good results. So it's how to remain focused on the performances, yet still make sure that the results are there at the end of it as well.
Just to finish on Bove, he said after the game on Tuesday he feels fit to play full games. Is it just a case of finding a place for him in the team now?
Exactly that, and that's exactly what I've been saying to him. It was, I think, what everybody felt at the Vic on Tuesday evening at the end of that game was fantastic. Everybody, Watford fans, his teammates, us, you guys, everybody felt something special at the end of that game. He deserves it. The team deserves that. So it's to feed off that positive vibe and that positive energy. We're lucky to have a player of that quality with us in the squad, definitely. And we're blessed to have, not just one like him, but actually quite a few really elite players. And it is, I'm not one to chop and change the team if I can choose. His moment will come of that, I'm 100% sure. There were so many players who, when I came in, weren't first choice, but at some point, things move, things change, and it's just up to them. A little bit like Mark Bowler. Mark Bowler didn't start the first few games. Stefan Fooni was doing a fantastic job. And then things move, and Mark has done unbelievably well to take his opportunity, and, he looks like, one of the better players in the team for the moment. So, and I'm sure Edoardo will do exactly the same. It's just a question of when, and that when that opportunity does come, he takes it and he remains focused on the team and not just, individual or selfish objectives.